all signs are pointing to a massive new attraction for Dollywood that's going to open up in 2026. Now, some say it's going to be another family coaster. However, I say it will become the park's best major thrill coaster. Plus, did you know that Big Bear Mountain, the park's newest coaster, was supposed to be a major thrill coaster? More on that coming up. Welcome to Theme Park Predictions. My name is Brandon, and I'm really glad you're here. And Dollywood is one of my favorite parks, and I think out of every park in the country besides like Epic Universe, Dollywood probably has the most intriguing future ahead of it because the park's already announced that 2026 is going to be their next major attraction, and it's been since 2016 since Dollywood has received a major thrill coaster. So I'm going to share with you all my thoughts as to why this will become a brand new major thrill coaster and not a family coaster, and give you guys my updated thoughts on the location as well as the prediction as to what type of coaster Dollywood is going to be building in 2026. Currently, Dollywood offers 10 roller coasters, and you really cannot find a bad coaster in the park. But the crazy thing about Dollywood is the longest coaster that the park has ever built is Big Bear Mountain, and it's not even 4,000 feet long. So while most of the coasters are all fantastic rides and great rides, they are kind of short. So I really hope that whatever Dollywood does have planned in 2026, that it's going to offer over 4,000 feet of track, a mid-course brake run, and be able to run 3 trains all the time to really help out with capacity. As for why I'm so intrigued about Dollywood's future, well, they do have the 2 main things that any theme park needs to be able to expand at the rate Dollywood is, and that is the money as well as the land. Dollywood still has a ton of land that's not even developed yet. On top of that, every year it seems like attendance increases and increases, and the park just gets better and better. So you know Dollywood is making a ton of money, and that's even without selling alcohol at the park. Just imagine if they started selling beer and wine and drinks there. But most importantly, why 2026 will not be a family coaster? And a few things. One, Lightning Rod was the last thrill coaster Dollywood's added, and 2026 will mark the 10th anniversary for Lightning Rod. That's 10 years without a major thrill coaster. So Dollywood, when it comes to family coasters, offers 3 main ones. You have Fire Chaser Express, Big Bear Mountain, and Dragon Flyer. I really do not see the need for yet another family coaster so soon. However, I do think that Dollywood could build a new family coaster a few years after Project 2026. And more on that in a minute because I think you're going to be rather intrigued by that. So why am I leaning towards Project 2026 to be a thrill coaster? Well, here's the thing that's really rather intriguing for me. Dollywood definitely needs, again, a high capacity coaster, and they have a ton of room to work with. But did you know that Big Bear Mountain was supposed to be a B&M Hyper coaster? Yes, a B&M Hyper. Now I have a few sources who have heard this, as well as 2 of them have even seen the blueprints for this hyper coaster. Now while I do not know much about it, what this tells me is Dollywood was tentatively planning to build a major thrill coaster for 2023. And while I do love Big Bear Mountain, just like most of us, just imagine a B&M Hyper in that location. And that tells me another thing. Dollywood is not afraid to add a major thrill coaster to Wildwood Grove, which goes to the location, because this area behind Big Bear Mountain is pretty large. And really, Dollywood can fit pretty much any type of major coaster in this area, especially if they want the layout to interact with the mountainside next to this area or all around it. If so, the new coaster could simply just cross over the train tracks, and who knows what type of layout the portion of the ride would be on the mountain, which is also rather intriguing. And my final reason why I predict that Project 2026 will be a brand new major thrill coaster is simply because Dollywood now has 2 hotels on property, and they're even going to be building a 3rd hotel and a campground. So I really feel like Dollywood's a park where they cater to thrill seekers, the families, the kids, and of course, the visitors that are there to go see the shows as well as the entertainment aspect that the park offers. With that being said, since Dollywood has added 2 great family coasters back to back, 2026 is the prime year for the park to build a major thrill coaster to really balance out the park even more. Also, if you want some new coaster merch like this shirt right here, be sure to check out keepridingcoasters.com. As for the location, again, I think this area behind Big Bear Mountain makes the most sense as far as 2026 goes. However, there is still one area inside of Dollywood which I feel as if needs the new coaster more than any other area, and that is the land that used to occupy the old Mountain Sidewinder water attraction. And ever since this ride was removed a few years back, the park's S&S Scream and Swing hardly has ever had a line, and this area just feels kind of dull. So just imagine a new coaster opening up right in the center of Dollywood, really spacing out the crowds even more, and the terrain here is fantastic for any type of coaster. So this area is where I'm more intrigued as far as location goes, because 2026, who knows where this coaster is going to go. Now, as far as what type of coaster, there's a few options obviously. I think the biggest one again is the B&M Hyper, because if this coaster type was on the table in 2023, then 2026 could very well be the year the park opens up their hyper coaster. I could also see a brand new B&M dive coaster being added to Dollywood. I said this in past videos, I feel like this just makes the most sense because you get the views of the Smoky Mountains from way up atop, as well as there's no dive coaster nearby. So for marketing purposes, that really does make a ton of sense. And the last coaster option that I really could feel like Dollywood could go with, obviously, is a mock ride spinner. These extreme spinners are fantastic. We know Time Traveler has done great for Silver Dollar City, so I do like that fit. But as far as the prediction goes, it's really up in the air because Dollywood can literally build anything, any of these three, or possibly work with Vekoma again for a new coaster. So what's your predictions as far as Dollywood goes? Because hear me out on this, just a big what if. We already know that Silver Dollar City retired their Fire and Hole attraction, and then they rebuilt it with the help from RMC to an all-new ride coming this year. So what about Blazing Fury? Because this ride is just pretty much just like Fire in the Hole, and we do know it's aging. And what does Dollywood have planned for it? Does the popularity of Blazing Fury warrant it to be rebuilt in a new location going forward? I hope so. I really like the ride. So what if, just a huge what if Project 2026, the new coaster, would be located next to the S&S Scream and Swing in this area here, and then Project 2028 or 2029 over behind Wildwood Grove, Dollywood then rebuilds Blazing Fury and open it as a brand new attraction because this land's already cleared and it's already flat. With that, if Dollywood ever has plans to rebuild Blazing Fury and it's not in its current location, honestly this area behind Big Bear is the only area as of now where Dollywood can build it because it's a flat piece of real estate. And there's not many other flat areas like this in or around Dollywood. Now, if you're curious as to how I rank the Dollywood coasters 1 through 10, then this video right here is just for you. Go check it out. So what are your predictions for Dollywood for 2026, and what do you think of mine? Let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. Remember to smile today, think positive, and keep riding coasters.